Alright, let me walk you through a story that honestly feels like one of those "there's no way this is real" situations, except it is real, and it became one of the most unexpected money breakthroughs ever recorded. This is the true story of Sylvester Stallone, and how a broke, struggling actor, who couldn't even afford heating or food, ended up turning a single handwritten script into one of the most iconic franchises in history. But before we get to the script, you have to see how dark things got first. Stallone wasn't born into comfort. He wasn't a Hollywood kid. He wasn't connected. He was just a guy chasing a dream that everybody around him kept calling impossible. For years, he tried audition after audition. And every time, rejection. Not because he couldn't act, but because of his speech, his look, the nerve damage he had since birth. Casting directors said he didn't fit, didn't look marketable, didn't look like a leading man, and while the world was telling him, no, life wasn't exactly being kind either. Stallone got so broke that he couldn't pay rent. He sold his furniture. Then he sold his coat. And eventually, he had to sell his dog, his best friend, because he couldn't afford to feed him. He sold the dog for $50 outside a liquor store. He said it was the lowest moment of his life. Now pause there for a second. Imagine being so broke that the only thing you have left is the one thing you love. That's rock bottom. But then, almost as if the universe was giving him one last shot, something happened. One night, he watched a boxing match. Not a glamorous fight. Not a big title match. Just a tough underdog giving everything he had in the ring. And something clicked. Stallone went home, sat down, and wrote. He wrote for 20 hours straight. When he finished, he had the first draft of Rocky. And here's where things get wild. He started pitching the script everywhere. Studios didn't want him to star in it. They wanted a real actor, but Stallone refused, even though he had almost nothing. Then the offers started coming in. $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, but every offer came with the same condition. You can't play Rocky. He turned down every single one. Nobody does that. Not when they can't afford food. Not when they're selling personal belongings just to survive. But Stallone believed the story wouldn't work without him. He believed he was the character. And that conviction, that stubborn belief, changed everything. Finally, a small studio said, "We'll let you play Rocky, but you're only getting $25,000, and the film gets a tiny budget." That was good enough for him. So what did he do with the money? He went back to that liquor store, every day, looking for the man who bought his dog. When he finally found him, Stallone begged to buy the dog back. The man said no. Stallone kept begging. Finally, the man agreed, but only if Stallone paid $15,000. Think about that. Half his payment, gone, just to get his dog back. But Stallone didn't care. He bought him back. And then, he even put the man in the movie. That's how Buttkiss, the dog in Rocky, ended up becoming one of the film's most loved details. Then the movie came out. And it exploded. Rocky made $225 million, won 3 Oscars, and became one of the most iconic underdog films in history. A man who couldn't buy food, a man who had $25,000 to his name, a man who had to sell his dog to survive, turned a handwritten script into a franchise worth billions worldwide. But the real lesson isn't that he got rich. It's that he bet on himself when nobody else would. He held the line when every logical voice said, "Take the money and walk away." Sometimes the difference between losing everything and changing your entire life is whether you believe in your idea enough to risk the little you have left. If real stories like this inspire you, make sure you like the video, drop a comment, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Trust me, you'll want to hear it.